everyone, and welcome to this week's Comic Shop Adventure. I am the Athletic Geek, and this is my weekly adventure where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ and venture out on my adventure to pick up a bounty of comic books, collectibles, and everything geeky. Far as what stood out from my pull list last week, the main three that stood out was, first of all, the issue of Batman with still going into the wedding with the Joker, the best man story arc, and what have you. The great story being told between Joker, Catwoman, and Batman, and just how all three, are kind of intertwined. Not necessarily a love triangle, but just like how of the two villains Batman's had, these are the two he's most tied to, and did a really good job writing that. It's been a great book, and it's been very, very interesting story arc with all the wedding stuff with Batman and Catwoman going forward, so that was really cool. And to segue into the next one, speaking of weddings, the X-Men Gold with, I really don't want to spoil it because I want you guys to go pick up this issue if you haven't yet read it, but Kitty and Colossus, they hit a little snag in their wedding, but in an ultimate act of fan service to me, some other members of the X-Men get married, and I'll just count down, spoiler in. When Colossus and Kitty decide not to get married, and Kitty leaves Colossus at the altar, Gambit gets down on one knee and proposes to Rogue, and they get married right there on the spot. So this was a pretty cool moment for me. It kind of came out of nowhere, but it was kind of like a good shock, and I'm interested to see where the storyline goes. It could be, the ball could get dropped on this completely, because this is something that people have been waiting for a long time. When is Gambit and Rogue finally going to commit to one another? It could end up being the best thing to ever happen to both characters. It could be a good return to relevancy for Gambit in the Marvel Universe. It could be a major, flop, and we look back on this going, damn, I really wish that wouldn't have happened. But I'm optimistic. I was happy. It made me happy. And then the last book to talk about, Justice League #2 by Scott Snyder. Updated Super Friends, with the volume turned up. Snyder's one of the best writers of this generation. You've heard me gush about his writing and this book so much, so I don't need to waste any more of your time. But on that note, I am getting ready to head out on my weekly comic shop adventure, and I will see you guys back here at the homestead with my bounty of comics and possibly collectibles. See you in a bit. Hey everyone, I am finally back here at the homestead at Athletic Geek HQ, and after a very, very hot comic shop adventure, I can finally show off my bounty for this week. And we got some interesting titles, and we're going to start off with the one and only Image book I'm currently reading. Of course, it is Saga Chapter 53, art by Fiona Staples, written by Brian K. Vaughan. Saga, it's great. You need to be reading Saga. If you're not familiar with Saga, go buy the trade paperbacks and get caught up on Saga so you can start reading Saga. That's how good this book is. Had high points, had low points, but always get excited when Saga comes out. Always. From there, we go to Thor #2 by Jason Aaron. I really enjoyed Thor last time it was out. And, for the first time ever, I have a Thor book on my pull list, and it's cool. I love Jason Aaron. Thor, while I don't dislike him, he's never been like somebody who I really geeked out over, but I really enjoyed issue 1, and I like Jason Aaron's writing, so gonna keep her going from there. And the last Marvel book of the bounty is Old Man Logan #42. We're continuing the Old Man Logan versus Kraven the Hunter story. Two really, really cool characters. Two characters that fit well together, even though Kraven's a Spider-Man villain. It's something I'm surprised hasn't happened earlier, and it's been really cool so far. Old Man Logan was one of those books I was kind of going through the motions with, but having kind of a cool story going like this with Kraven has been really cool and reinvigorated my interest in this title. We will go to the world of DC now with Man of Steel number 5 by Brian Michael Bendis. This is, again, his 6-week weekly series leading into when he takes over the writing on the Superman title and the Action Comics title. And, you know, it's been up and down, more ups than downs so far, at least in this series. Last week was kind of it wasn't bad, but it was just kind of book as far as the Man of Steel is concerned. But, you know, I think I'm starting to get higher hopes for Bendis. I'm starting to lose some of that trepidation. I think he's going to do a good job. I'm really thinking that this is going to be the next big thing for Bendis, and something that he kind of needs, because, in my opinion, he hasn't been up to his potential in the last couple of years. So, you know, as I've said before, you know, maybe a fresh coat of paint and, you know, getting to play with some new toys. So we'll breathe some new life into Brian Michael Bendis' career. So we got that on the horizon. And then we also have The Flash, number 49. The Flash War continues. You've heard me gush for weeks about how much I enjoy this Flash book, and this has just been a really, really cool book with all the different characters, all the different, you know, Wally, and the Wally from pre-Flashpoint, and Barry from now, and it's just really, really cool. And so almost like a love letter to fans of, you know, all Flash fans and all different types of Flash characters that have been out there. It's really, really cool how they're doing this, and like I said, this has always been probably the best kept secret in comics has been the Flash books since the DC Rebirth. So, and that has not changed. It's a great book, a great title, and just does not, you don't hear it getting the praise that I believe it should get. So I'm always going to talk well about the Flash on this show. We will also go to the Terrifics, number 5. Jeff Lemire's way of taking kind of the B and C list characters that don't get a lot of love from on DC and making a really, really cool superhero team has been really good thus far, and I'm excited to see the adventure continue. So, Terrifics number 5. We've got Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 47. The Dark Stars Rising storyline continues. This has been a really, again, maybe not always been quite as good as its counterpart with, you know, in Green Lanterns, but still good book, good Green Lantern title, good for fans of Hal. If you're a Hal Jordan fan, you owe it to yourself to be reading this book. And even if you aren't really the biggest Hal Jordan fan, still a really, really good book if you like the Green Lantern Corps as a whole. It's a nice book for you guys to pick up. So, been a good storyline so far, and yeah, cover makes me believe that some big things are going to be happening in this issue. From there, we go to the Prelude to the Wedding, Part 5, Harley Quinn versus the Joker. Didn't really get in as much as I'd like to have with the Red Hood and Anarchy book last week. I didn't say it's a terrible book. It's just, I guess, you know, there's been a better standard was set the week before with Batgirl versus the Riddler, but I think this is going to be an interesting story, especially with what we just saw happen last week in the Batman book with Joker. So I'm just kind of interested to see how they're using the Joker in this one and how it's going to fit with that whole storyline that's been going on. So Harley Quinn versus the Joker, gonna check that out. And then finally, the last book on the pull list and the last part of the bounty for this week is Detective Comics number 983. I believe this is going to be the first, like, real big ongoing story arc, you know, since the change in writing in Detective Comics, and we're just going to have to see how well the book will continue after the previous writer, because the last book was great, and we'll just have to see where it goes from there. It could still be a good book. You never know. It just, there's always kind of that time of uncertainty whenever they change writers, so we'll just have to wait and see, and if at the beginning of next week's adventure you hear me talking about how good of an issue this was, then you know that this book is in good hands. If you quit seeing this book on the list, then you know it's not. But, yep, I love Batman, and we'll see where it goes. But that is it for the bounty this week. Unfortunately, nothing else. No collectibles, no statues, but still a really, really good pull list and 9 books I'm pretty excited to read. And I'd love to know what all you picked up from your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please hit subscribe. And if you'd like more content, not just from comic books, but from everything geek culture, gaming, anime, and especially pro wrestling, go like the Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. But other than that, I'm out. Be cool. Later.